Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. They've got salt, they've got sand, they've got mulch, and they've got everything you need to get you through this winter, including some of the great snow and ice melt products. And maybe, just maybe, areas that have not seen any measurable snow this winter might get to need some come Wednesday. We'll see. 631-756-1125 is the phone number. The website is omnitruevalue.com. And also, don't forget tonight, the Joe and Joe Weather Show live at 7:35 p.m. on my YouTube channel. So let's first off look at what's going on right now with this system that moved through last night. And we actually have some areas at noontime reporting moderate snow, including Poughkeepsie and Danbury and Montgomery. And we're seeing rain along the coast, mostly light rain. You also have winter weather advisories still up for a few of the counties in northeastern Pennsylvania and for the southern Catskills. Winter storm warnings further up to the north and across upstate New York into Vermont, New Hampshire, over into Maine, and also into the northern part of Massachusetts. Just started mixing with sleet at Logan Airport in Boston area. We don't want to leave out, by the way, the fact that we do have coastal flood advisories up for southeastern New England, also for parts of the shores of Connecticut into Westchester County for Long Island Sound, and for the New Jersey shore. We're seeing coastal flood advisories, and those extend down all the way into coastal Delaware, thanks to the low going out to our east and now beginning to move away. On the satellite view, still quite a bit of cloud cover. Give it a quick refresh here, and we're looking out to the west, not seeing much in the way of any clearing yet, so we really have to wait for this to pull out. The actual low center is now about halfway between Cape Cod and south of Nova Scotia, but you can sort of see the twisting that's going on behind it in upstate New York and in Pennsylvania. That's the upper trough that is swinging eastward. And then we also want to focus our attention to what is down in the southwest, because this is the next round of energy that is going to be moving eastward for Wednesday's storm system. And already we have winter storm watches that are up from eastern Oklahoma, kind of in a narrow band there, northwestern Arkansas through southern Missouri, south central Illinois, central and northeast Indiana into western Ohio. Winter storm warnings are up for parts of northwest Texas and New Mexico. So we're seeing here, if you look at where the watches are lined up, it pretty much tells you the track of this low, which is going to be to the south of where those winter storm watches are. And as a result, when this system gets into the east, it's going to be snow changing over to rain. We also want to point out that this storm system could wind up being a severe weather producer for tomorrow. We have a slight risk of severe weather in southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi and Alabama, and coastal Texas, but we also have an enhanced risk of severe weather in southeast Louisiana, southernmost Mississippi and Alabama into the Florida Panhandle, and that is likely to come with a tornado risk of up to 10%. So I want to pay attention to that for the folks that are along the south, in the south and in the deep south, and in the east and in the southeast on Wednesday. Having a little trouble here. Wednesday into Thursday, we have a marginal risk from southeastern Virginia southward through the Carolinas and Georgia and into northwestern Florida. On the radar, we're looking at what's going on in the northeast, and you see the snow in upstate New York, now in Connecticut and Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. It's still light rain in parts of New Jersey and over Long Island. There might be some mixing that could go on this afternoon. And in some areas here in southern New York and in interior Connecticut and Massachusetts, a few additional inches of snow are certainly possible. The WPC rainfall forecast, the liquid precip forecast. Maybe by the time we get to the end of the winter, I'll remember that. We're looking at an inch and a half plus from eastern Pennsylvania on up through coastal New England, Also, 1 to 3 inches plus in parts of the central and western Gulf states and over the Florida Panhandle. Lesser amounts as you go up to the west in the Rockies. And we do want to show you here, this is WPC's probability for at least 2 inches. Now, this covers for upstate New York and New England, this covers what's going on now. But they're going to get snow from the next one, too. So the probabilities are high. And we're talking about in the red is 95%. Northeastern Pennsylvania, the middle under Hudson Valley northward. But we actually do have the 40% line just north of New York City and to the northwest of Philadelphia by a fair distance. I think we might see that line get tugged down a little bit further south based on what we're seeing on today's run of the models. So speaking of which, I'm going to use the NAM model at the moment, and a couple of things here that I think are important with regards to what happens on Wednesday. The big key to Wednesday will be Tuesday night. So our storm is going to pull away today. We're going to see improvement tonight. You see the snow comes to an end. You also on the lower left, you can see the precip breaking out with the next weather system, some lake effect going on. There is actually a weak front. It's hard to see. But there's a weak east-west front that's up to our north Tuesday afternoon. That front really doesn't do very much, but what it does do is as it falls apart, it allows some colder air. It's not a lot, but we're going to see some cold air drain southward Tuesday night into Wednesday morning as this storm system tracks to the northeast up the west side of the Appalachians. And you can see the large area of snow that is north and west of the center. But we are going to start to see a band that will form on the east side with the warm front that's going to be coming northward. So this is Wednesday morning. So what happens on Wednesday will depend on how cold it gets Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. I think we'll see temperatures down in the 20s in many locations in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. Even the warmest spots might get to 30 or slightly less, and that could be just enough so that we wind up with a front end burst that develops. This is at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, and then at 1 p.m. you see that dark blue snow. It's a narrow band that kind of expands outward when you get back into Pennsylvania, but it extends from Long Island westward and then begins to expand across Pennsylvania and southern New York. Then at 4 o'clock, and then we have at 7 o'clock, and this is where we start to see the change over to rain. So it's a 3 to 6 hour period where we could get a burst of snow that leaves maybe a coating to a couple of inches down near some the coastal areas, perhaps for areas just north and west of Philadelphia, near New York City, and for southern New England, and maybe even also for Long Island. But just north and west of there, it could wind up being a bit more than that. And then it goes over to rain, and some of that rain is going to be heavy Wednesday night. But this is at 1 a.m. Thursday. The back edge of the rain is already into western New Jersey, and by 7 a.m. it's done. So the key again will be the cold air. How much cold air drains down southward on Tuesday night? In some ways, if you think back to mid-November of 2019, I believe it was, where we had a 3 to 6 inch snowfall in a situation not too dissimilar to this. They don't always work exactly the same way, but I think it's something we'll be paying attention to and watching to see if the models keep coming in a little bit colder and a little bit beefier over time. Weather in 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125 is the phone number. The website, omnitruevalue.com. And we're going to cover all of this tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:35 Eastern Time.